Very warm welcome to the latest edition of Republic Defense. I am Rakshita Mishra with you, and we have a power-packed edition of the show this evening, viewers. From what's happening as far as the Pakistan is concerned, the unleashing of terror tactics is concerned, to also how India is boosting its air defense system with Project Kusha, the Kusha missile test. We're going to get you details of that and much more on the show on Republic Defense. And viewers, India successfully completed the maiden flight test of Project Kusha, an ambitious project, and India's indigenously developed invincible air shield, completely made in India. And viewers, it was not just a missile test, but it was the first step towards a homegrown architecture, defense architecture, and our air shield that's completely made in India. We saw the S-400, the Sudarshan Chakra, the use of it during Operation Sindoor, and now the Kusha missile system will be a level up and an indigenous answer to systems like Russian S-400, Israel's Iron Dome. So let's take you through what really we expect from the Project Kusha. Why is it significant? How does it reduce the dependency to S-400? Because that has proven to be a game changer. But this one, viewers, when operational, will be actually changing the game for India. So it is indigenous, completely indigenous. It's a long-range air defense system, a long-range air defense missile. It's multi-layered shield against aerial threats and threats that are far off. It can engage multiple targets simultaneously. So if there is a barrage of missiles, it can actually engage multiple such missiles, and it can intercept multiple of such threats. Integration with advanced radars is another point, another significant feature of it. And it's also linked with Indian Air Force's Air Command System, of course. India's indigenous S-400 system also, of course, forms an important part. It would be actually supplementing initially the S-400. It is not going to replace it right away, but it's going to supplement and support the S-400. If we go to how the interceptors are different, there are three interceptors, three kinds. M1 is short to medium range targets. It targets cruise missiles, drones, stealth aircraft. The range is different, of course, so there's a difference in the ranges. M2 interceptor is medium to long range targets, and it tackles, of course, ballistic missiles, and for long range targets tackled hypersonic threats and strategic bombers. So this is M3. This is going to actually change the game. This could even go as far as 400 kilometers. I'm talking about the range here. The key part is the difference in the ranges as far as the three kinds of interceptors are concerned. So Kusha being the game changer is what we are going to talk about in this edition of Republic Defense, and we are also being joined by our guest. In fact, first, before we go across to our expert, let's listen into what the Raksha Mantri had said just a few days back. In June, he had hailed the strategic vision behind the Kusha missile system, calling it a game changer for India's security. Take a look.
प्रोग्राम कुशा वास्तव में भारत के सिक्योरिटी सिनेरियो में एक गेम चेंजर साबित होने वाला है। मैं इसको प्रेडिक्ट कर रहा हूं आज। और ये अपनी क्षमता में वर्ल्ड क्लास इंडिजिनस एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम है, और इस तरह के इक्विपमेंट हमारे लिए क्यों जरूरी है, इसका महत्व हमें ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान देखने को मिल गया है। अब किसी प्रमाण की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। साथियों, उस दौरान जब आसमान से तरह तरह के खतरे हमारी सीमाओं पर मंडरा रहे थे और हमारी एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम ने जिस तरह दुश्मनों के इरादे को नाकाम किया था, वह इनक्रेडिबल था। जैसे द्वापर युग में, आपने पढ़ा होगा, द्वापर युग में गोवर्धन पर्वत ने पूरे ब्रज की रक्षा की थी, वैसे ही हमारे एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम ने उस दौरान पूरे क्षेत्र को एक सुरक्षित अम्ब्रेला प्रदान किया था।
So let's get you more details on the air defense shield of the country, why it's important given the geopolitical situation, what we observe across the world. Now, this, viewers, Kusha defense system is part of the mission Sudarshan Chakra. Now, it is multi-layered national air defense shield that will be completed by 2035. This was in fact announced by the Prime Minister Modi from the ramparts of Red Fort during 15th of August. And it's interlocked, AI-enabled and air defense. It's an AI-enabled air defense infrastructure. So there is modern technology that is used. The most advanced technology is incorporated. And of course, it derives its lessons from Operation Sindoor. So S-400 did the job. Akash system did the job for India. But yes, mission Sudarshan Chakra is like India's own Iron Dome. So it's on the lines of Iron Dome and Russia's S-400. We are looking to reduce dependency on these foreign systems. And of course, it's a formative pillar that we are talking about, which is Project Kusha. So let's now go across to former Vice Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Anil Khosla. Pleasure having you, sir, on our defense. Sir, first of all, it's of course a big development, India's successful test of the Kusha missiles. And as we see what's happening all across all across the globe, and given India's threats also on different fronts, how much of a game changer this missile system could be?
Yeah, thank you, Rakshita. All good wishes to you and your team and the viewers. Kusha is in the news very much at the moment, with the first test successfully carried out on 23rd July. And as you said, it's going to be a game changer, even the RM said, Prime Minister has said. So when we got S-400, I remember we did a lot of work on it for the induction, and we reduced quite a bit of other air defense systems to rationalize the spending. And Op Sindoor has proven it that S-400 was very, very useful in terms of defending incoming missiles. And not only that, it pushed the enemy away from the borders, and we shot down a high-value aircraft at extreme limits. And that proved that the system is very, very valuable, and the enemy gets pushed further behind. And Pakistan doesn't have that much of depth, this thing. So this system is definitely going to be a game changer. And of course, we have S-400, but the indigenous system is always better in many ways, and we can go on the advantages of indigenous system. There are quite a few.
All right, sir. Many thanks, Air Marshal Anil Khosla, for joining us on Republic TV and sharing your assessment of this big development as far as the test by the DRDO is concerned. Viewers, now we shift our focus to other stories that we are packing in, viewers. This is what's happening in the valley. As we see, POJK and Balochistan is slipping out of Pakistan's clutches. Pakistan is now resorting to the same playbook. It's unleashing terror, resorting to its cowardly pattern of target killings in the valley. 2 migrant laborers, viewers, on Friday were shot dead. But these were not isolated incidents that we're talking about. It was one among the many that were being planned from Lahore by Lashkar-e-Taiba. Now let's get more details also on this. Now this is planned by Pakistani handler of Lashkar-e-Taiba, and they were also behind the Pahalgam terror attack. Sajid Jatt is one of them we are talking about, and he is one of the key plotters of this entire attack. And we're going to show you the visuals of what has happened. These are a series of target killings. That will also tell you one important thing, how there has been a pattern to this. Let's just fire those graphics. How there has been a series of target killings. Pahalgam terror attack, as we saw, what happened, how religion was asked, and they targeted Hindus. In Kulgam, we see the same. In fact, throughout 3 years, 3 to 4 years, we've seen that there have been target killings, especially after the abrogation of Article 370. We've seen there has been a wave of attacks on those who are migrants. They're Indians, they're migrants, and attacks are being planned in Pir Panjal region as of now in central Kashmir. And in fact, my colleague Zeenat has filed a report from Kulgam. Listen in to this ground report.
In Srinagar, and later the last rites of the deceased will be performed in Kulgam. So the dead bodies will not be sent back to their native place, Chhattisgarh. Meanwhile, the terrorists who are involved, the police is trying to locate, they are trying to hunt them down, the security operators up. LG Manoj Sinha chairing the security review meeting, where apart from the Anantnag killing, the Kulgam will also be discussed, because this is the terror attack taking place when the Amarnath Yatra is on. The security is up across Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, the intelligence agencies suggest that the terrorists who carried this attack yesterday evening, they were the motorcycle-borne terrorists, and the AK-47 was used while carrying this terror crime. There are certain reports that suggest that the Sajid Jat, who operates from Pakistan, was also involved into the Pahalgam attack. He is also behind the attacks that are taking place in the Kashmir Valley. Is it like the Pakistan is still into the nefarious business that has been the history of the place, and they are trying to keep the pot boiling by targeting now the non-locals, because the migrant workers, the last attack was seen in 2024 in February in the downtown Srinagar, where the carpenters coming from Amritsar were targeted.
This entire chronology, we've seen how many times that there have been target killings. The latest one, of course, is what happened in Kulgam. As we told you, in fact, migrant workers have been attacked. Now the death toll has risen to 2. In April last year, we saw how there were at least 26 tourists who were killed, and Indians were killed. They were all Indian nationals, of course, viewers. They were all killed on their own soil, viewers, that is Jammu Kashmir. In October 2024, let's go back to what happened in Ganderbal. 6 non-local workers were killed in Ganderbal. In February 2024, the same year, there were 2 non-local workers who were killed in Srinagar. May to June 2022, there were a series of selective killings across Kashmir for 2 long months, back to back. In October 2021, 11 of them were killed. 11 civilians were targeted. That included those who were from other parts of the country. We are being joined by a defense expert, geopolitical expert, Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey joining us. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, Republic Defense. So at a moment when we see that Pakistan is completely helpless, the state is crumbling, POK is revolting like never before, Balochistan is taking on Pakistan like never before. And now we see that from what happened in Anantnag just few days back to now, what happened in Kulgam, sir, there's a pattern to these diversionary tactics of Pakistan, isn't it?
So when you look at whatever action happens by the Pakistanis, they are based on timing and a certain degree of messaging. And what I try and read into this timing is, when you look at Pahalgam, when it happened, and these last 2 killings of a policeman on duty in Anantnag and now 2 migrant workers, the modus operandi remains also quite similar. The timing is that there is a challenge within Pakistan. There's an issue which is happening there. The entire world is now getting slightly focused without being, initially they were not, but slowly the world attention is coming on to the POJK into the occupied territories, what is happening, where virtually unarmed, non-violent civilians are being killed by the Pakistani military and the forces. And that is the time they need to divert this tension again back into the Indian side. And what best to do is to carry out certain degree of killings, which are very highly cowardly and done through the terrorists who are under their control. So there is one part. This is how the timings play. In fact, even in case of Pahalgam, if you look back, there's a situation which was developing in Pakistan, and Atmanirbhar made his play to ensure that the diversion from the internal matters start moving out to some other issues. So there's one part. The second is, please look at the modalities are quite similar. In case of Pahalgam, very clearly religion was used as people to be identified, and I'm told same is the case in this present event as well, in which possibly the first 2 names when they came up and they were found to be Hindus, they shot these 2 non-local laborers who came for merely for a job to make the earning for the poor families. Easy targets, easy to be killed, and that is what happens here. This also has started shifting. If you look at a little bit linkage, which people have not possibly thought of it, and they should start thinking that once Hamas came into Lashkar-e-Toiba headquarters in Pakistan and occupied territories, a shift of this type of killings have started taking place, and especially based on ideology, because it ensures that people of Kashmir gets unnecessarily into focus in two manners. One is such a killing will ensure that the peace stability which is there in Kashmir, which has been very hard fought over so many decades, and they are seeing a prolonged periods of peace and stability and tourism, economic activity, development, infrastructure and everything, that gets harmed and damaged. So that is one part of this. And second is, internally within the country, the moment you ask a religion and that kind of indication is given, which came out somewhere in our discussion yesterday, then what happens is a certain focus comes out on the people of Kashmir, and that leads into a certain degree of division within our own country. So these are things which people need to see more carefully and ensure that the intentions of the Pakistani and Pakistani handlers to carry out such terrorist strikes should not flare up and go out of control, because those are their intentions and aim, and that is very important. Lastly, I just want to say again, a lot of time people will start criticizing given examples of state failure, state machinery failure of law and order and intelligence. We need to understand there are two spectrums of it. In case people want perfect security, then they will have to become a security state, which is not a good condition. We will have police post and RR and CRPF post almost in every village or every alternate village, which is not very good for a democratic country like ours. We are not Pakistan, or we are not so many other security state where the security gets after the people who normal citizen, and that is not a good state. The second is the issue of intelligence. Please understand that while 6 years or 6 years have passed since the time application has taken place, nearly 6 years of great amount of peace which we are seeing in Jammu and Kashmir, we must understand that there is a certain mindset which remains resilient, alive within the Kashmir and Jammu and Kashmir environment, who are not very happy with the kind of peace which is there, and they will continue to find ways and means to create trouble in people in which people are hassled and troubled, rather than only the terrorists. So it is the responsibility of the people of Kashmir also to start introspecting, because such elements live amongst them, and they need to ensure that they are picked out, and the law and order should take their own course.
Very rightly pointed out there, Lieutenant General Pandey. Appreciate you joining us on Republic Defense.
Thank you. Thank you, Akshita.
And we were now shifting our focus to how steps are being taken for Indian Army's performance and Indian Army's adjustment in different weathers, functioning in extreme weathers. Now Indian Army has unveiled extreme weather grade diesel. Indigenously developed fuel has been engineered to provide mobility at temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius with anti-waxing technology. It will strengthen India's defense logistics at the northern high-altitude border by providing increased mobility to combat vehicles. The extreme-grade fuel is also an addition to India's Atmanirbhar defense tech, as it has been developed indigenously. Listen into what Chief of Army Staff General Dheeraj Seth said while unveiling the fuel.
I'm from the Armored Corps, therefore basically being a tank man. And in fact, our initial years, till I was a CO, that is the first 20 years of my service, actually revolved around fuel, oil and lubricants, and more specifically diesel. Our life actually revolved around diesel. How much diesel is left in the tank, on the barrels, what is the cruising range left. So it was everything moved and rotated around diesel. So we've really grown up counting diesel barrels and making them move behind our tanks. So I really can fully appreciate the kind of advantage that this particular XWG is going to render to both A vehicles, that is the tanks and vehicles of that category, as also the B vehicles, that is the lorries and the lighter ones, in these extreme weather conditions.
And on to the final segment, viewers. Air Chief Marshal's message on self-reliance coming in, stressing on the need for innovation and Atmanirbharta in air defense. Air Chief Marshal AP Singh said, technology delayed is technology denied. Another very important message on the pending deliveries. It seems this comes as the war zones are changing, defense tech is evolving, and India needs to adapt. He emphasizes on that. And Air Chief Marshal AP Singh also focused on self-reliance, building Atmanirbharta in defense as well. Take a look.
Technology delayed is technology denied. There is no point having something which comes later than when others have got it and gone beyond it. So we need to push ourselves to make sure that these things happen in time. And not only just technology. Technology staying in lab. Dr. Ranjana just mentioned. We have the technology, but it's not gone beyond lab. Then no point. So we need to have the production capability. We need to have the scalability. Technology delayed is technology denied. There is no point having something which comes later than when others have got it and gone beyond it. So we need to push ourselves to make sure that these things happen in time. And not only just technology. Technology staying in lab. Dr. Ranjana just mentioned. We have the technology, but it's not gone beyond lab. Then no point. So we need to have the production capability. We need to have the scalability.
And viewers, also we bring you a glimpse of the flood situation in Assam. The state has been battling deadly flood situation since the mid of July, with the death toll breaching the 70 mark. Multiple districts including Sivasagar and Golaghat have been submerged, affecting critical supplies. We also show you how the Indian Army has launched Operation Rahat, airlifting relief in active flood zones. Over 100 people have been rescued. More than 16,000 are in relief camps, and the Army along with NDRF and SDRF continue to supply food and essentials to the affected areas. We leave you with these visuals. Thank you so much for watching. Jai Hind.